So you might have heard this phrase before when it comes to food, and that is, you are what you eat, or in this case, drink. I think a lot of runners and endurance athletes get lost with the mindset that they can eat whatever they want because they're just going to burn the calories anyway. But keep in mind, not all calories are created equal. My focus today isn't to attack anybody's food preferences or tear apart their cheat meals. I think those are really important, especially after a long run. My focus today is to take you through a full day of eating and hopefully shed some light on what it looks like to keep things healthy while also being an endurance athlete. I'm only 1 week away from my marathon, so I obviously want to feel good when it comes to race day, but in a sport where you're constantly tearing your body down, I definitely want to focus on building longevity so I can do this for as long as possible, because I know if I take care of my body now, it will take care of me later. These mornings have started out a lot earlier than usual, with the marathon coming up in about a week. My goal is to make sure that I get used to waking up early and getting food in my stomach right away. I've been sticking to very simple carbs, and that's going to be things like applesauce, orange juice, bananas, and a few other small things. To keep track of what I'm eating, I've been scanning my food into an app called Chronometer. And that allows me to look back and see what I had before I ran. That way I can identify if something is working, or if something isn't working, I can make sure I don't continue eating those foods as we get closer to the marathon. I definitely don't want to be making any critical mistakes when it comes to fueling. I usually just drink water throughout the morning. If I have time, I'll drink a black coffee or maybe a double shot of espresso to keep things simple. We're just putting water and electrolytes in, and that's going to be about 500 milligrams of sodium. Sometimes I'll add a little bit more salt if I think it needs more, depending on the run, but for today, it's just going to be 500 milligrams. I've been training with a handheld water bottle, and I'm bringing that with me on all my runs now so that I get used to running with it when the marathon comes up. Today's run is a fairly easy run, but I always find that the gym is way hotter than it should be. There's just no airflow, so I sweat a lot more. Typically I would do this outside, but because of work and because of timing for today, we decided to knock out the 3-mile progression run on the treadmill. So after this morning's 3-mile treadmill run, our post-run meal, starting off with coffee. Sometimes I'll have coffee before I run, but today, because of the milk and stuff, I try not to have a bunch of dairy before I run. I feel like it's just easier on my stomach. Just gonna do a cappuccino this morning with a little bit of sweet cream. And then breakfast-wise, we're gonna do a protein waffle. So for that, I'll typically use the Kodiak cake mix, and then I just add water and then a little bit of extra protein powder. Today, I'm just gonna add a scoop of ProMix vanilla whey protein. I still wanna make sure I replenish some carbs that I burned running this morning, but I still wanna make sure I get enough protein, because this morning with the banana, applesauce, and then orange juice, I think, pretty much no protein in any of that. So gotta make sure we make up for that and get off to a good start for the day when it comes to protein. Meal number 2 for the day is going to be pretty boring, but a lot of good essential food. The chicken is the hardest part to figure out, like, how much we're eating. It's 112 grams per serving, and I weighed it out. So 370 grams, if I can do the math right, would be 3.3 times 13 grams per wing, or per serving. So it ended up being 42.9 grams of protein, which makes sense for 4 chicken wings right here. We got about a cup of steamed broccoli, and then our not so healthy food, although I'm trying to be mostly healthy today. I kind of forgot we had baked beans, and if you read the label, it's not good. There's some junk in the label for sure, so we'll call these a treat. The only other thing I'm having a hard time calculating is how much ranch that I'm going to end up using. So I'll kind of eyeball it, but that's 120 calories per 2 tablespoons. We're going to add some of that up the best we can. That's our second meal, and then the sweet potatoes are not quite done yet. So after running this morning, this is a really good chance to focus more on things like veggies, protein. Pretty good spread overall. We're going to eat this here on our lunch break, probably watch some YouTube videos, and then definitely make a second cup of coffee today, because I need one. I had to wake up at 5 to get to the gym. So we're going to eat this, and then we'll get after it. All right, our second latte of the day is nothing special. I was hoping to be a little cooler, but I messed up the milk steaming because I was worried about my camera and other stuff. I promise I can do better, but for this episode today, you're not gonna see anything cooler than a blob. But wife and I are gonna play some cards. She already has them shuffled out here. We're gonna finish our coffees, play some cards, and we gotta go back to work for 3 more hours, and then we're done for the day, and we'll be back home to work on our dinner. All right, we just sat down for our last full meal of the day. The bowls that we made is just like a compilation of everything we have in the fridge, which is pretty realistic for us and healthy. Everything in here is organic or grass-fed for the beef, for example. We have a bunch of different fixins, and it's kind of just grab whatever you want and just load it up. So that's what we did. I will show the numbers up here for calories, carbs, and protein, kind of give you some of that. And then I want to give you an update on our totals for today right now. 2,500 calories, 123 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, and then 123 for fat. My thought process for dinner is always looking at the next day. So this meal is definitely gonna affect tomorrow's run. Tomorrow I think we're doing 8 miles, fairly easy, maybe a little bit of marathon pace at the end. So this meal is gonna play a role in that. So the good thing about this is it's high in protein. It's got a lot of healthy food in there for like the micro minerals and stuff, which is just as important as the macros really. And yes, I have the Saratoga water, sparkling. It's kind of just a joke. We just got it because it was like fun, and we got 2 bottles of it on sale. But I actually do really enjoy sparkling water, so I will be having some of this. But yeah, that's tonight's dinner. We're doing pretty good on the day. I had one little Ghirardelli chocolate piece of candy. I did scan out my phone though, so it's in there, but we will cover the numbers at the very end of the day. But for right now, we're doing pretty good, and we're gonna get this meal in, and we'll have one more snack later tonight. All right, for our snack tonight, we're doing a classic option here. We got some yogurt with granola and then a scoop of whey protein as well. Vanilla whey protein, vanilla yogurt, I should have said. And then the granola has some blueberries in it or something like that. It is blueberry, just trust me. I'm gonna top off the numbers right over here. You'll kind of see where we're at. I think we're around 145 grams of protein. So I needed just a little bit extra, and this is gonna help me achieve that. So that's our snack for tonight. Other than that, I don't think I'm gonna eat anything else. It's almost 9 o'clock here, so we're definitely gonna get done eating pretty quick so we can get up tomorrow at about 6 so we can run 8 miles. I think at the end of the day, when it comes to eating healthy, especially as a runner or an endurance athlete, it really comes down to making sure that you set whatever goals you have and you keep them realistic. For me, the easiest way to know what I'm actually eating is just to track it on the Chronometer app. So that's worked well for me. There's MyFitnessPal and other things you can do as well. You don't have to use that, but I do think you need some type of a system that is sustainable. So for us, I feel like we can eat a little bit more and have a bit more freedom on what we pick if we keep things organic and relatively clean. I don't think you need to be hyper focused on tracking every detail, but when we do scan some things in and look back on how we did, if you're feeling really good, you could look back and be like, wow, we had a great formula that day. Let's repeat that next week for our long run. Or the opposite of that would be you don't feel great on your runs and you look back and you realize you only had 20 grams of carbs before you ran. And then you're like, boom, that's what we got to fix. It just gives options. It gives you options and then possible solutions to issues you're having. So I think that's the importance of keeping up with that. So that is going to wrap up today's video, a full day of eating healthy as a runner. Now, if you get anything from today's video, I hope you see the importance of why you should really focus on picking healthy foods to make sure that you fuel your training. Let me know down below what you guys think of some of the meals that I had, and I want to hear some of the stuff that you guys are using to fuel your training as well. Feel free to like this video and subscribe if you are not already. We are a week away from the marathon, so things are getting very intense as we begin to really taper and just focus on food. So that's all I can think about right now. So what better way to do this than film a full day of eating? Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys very soon in the next video.